We live.
Good evening, America. Saturday night. We're back. Happy New Year's.
Right. Order out of chaos, chaos out of order.
Yeah, a lot of chaos. From cosmos to chaos. Let me do the mantras. Okay. All right. The revelation of the divine spark. Through the power, force, might, and will of great nothingness of the almighty powers of the great nothingness of almighty flow, the great nothingness of infinite beingness of infinite, endless, limitless, invisible light from which comes that absolute all that was, all that is, and all that is being and becoming realized into realization, actualization, and form as we all now will and commanded to be. Now, being and become an active force of higher consciousness, an active force of infinite intelligence within us all now, being becoming the great primordial dragon god son, Kundalini flames. Now, whirling and ascending up our spines from our root chakra to our central heart chakra, all the way up to our royal crown chakra, igniting our royal crown chakra, illuminating our first eye, our Lord Amanel Dragon, our hidden priestly grandmaster, Magi Dragon, God, Son, King, and Queen, igniting all of the 72 chakras in our first eye, our 72 primordial dragon, God, Son, Kings, and Queens, and all of our legions of 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 legions legions of 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 armies 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 of armies. Now, willing all the powers, all of the forces, all of the dark matter, all of the dark energy, ruling the entire omniverse, earth and physical and spiritual matrix and heavenlies into being and becoming all of our will servants, serving all of our will's objectives, intentions, and desires, crystallizing them all into realization, actualization, and form as we are now willing commanded to be. Now, being to become an active force of higher energy that we need now to help us overcome and defeat all of the obstacles in our way, completely dissolving all of our worries, lack, problems, and fears into complete nothingness, manifesting into our lives as all of the substance that we need to rebuild our lives into the proper order and law that we will and command and desire as we only affirm the positive abundance of the absolute all as an eachness of oneness in the absolute all, manifesting into our lives as divine love, perfect health, vitality, abundance, and prosperity in the absolute all, enriching our lives and the lives of all that is around us, while protecting us from all of the evil of human thoughts and deeds, neutralizing all of our enemies, bringing all out more judgment, death, and total destruction upon the evil, soulless, counterfeit robots and the ignorant walking dead and their Lord and God, the demiurge, and the archonic forces, enslaving and feeding off of the divine spark, the Kundalini race, and all of the other entities and deities aligned against us, enslaving us into grotesque matter to be reborn, live, suffering, die over and over until now. As it is our time to rise up to conscious unity, as they all fall. That's all our Lord judgment, death, and destruction is upon them all, as we all now will and commanded to be. Through the power, force, might, and will of the great nothingness of the almighty powers of the great nothingness of almighty flow, the great no thingness of infinite beingness, of infinite, endless, limitless, invisible life from which comes the absolute all that was, all that is, and all that is being to become realized into realization, actualization, and form as we all now will command it to be. Abracadabra, Ashe.
Ashe.
Okay. Next, crown base chakra. Okay, crown chakra day libations. Ain, the nothingness, Ashe. Ain soft, the infinite, Ashe. Ain soft, or the infinite light, Ashe. Adam Captain. I recap the hidden face, the primordial Christ. Access the supreme manifest in us as a magical name. The greater the crown of Zerah and the small face, the indwelling Christ. Real form creation in paradise manifested in us as a holy divine and magical dark art. Yet zero formation manifested in us as our holy divine and magical orders of dark angels and demons. Ashe. And kingdom Ashe. Yeshida, our holy divine infinite magical divine spark, manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical will. Magical heavenly soul, manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical heavenly thoughts. Ashe. Ruach, our holy divine infinite magical soul, manifesting in us as Ashe. Neither manifesting into realization, actualization, and form as we gather the supernal crown. Ashe. Understand intelligence, the supernal mother. Ashe. Da, the great abyss of gnosis. Ashe. Ased, mercy. Ashe. Gevurah, judgment. Beauty. Ashe.
Ashe.
Glory. Ashe. Hassan. Kingdom. Ashe. The power, force, might, and will of the great nothingness of the almighty powers of the great nothingness of almighty flow, the great nothingness of infinite Venus of infinite endless life, from which comes the absolute all that is and realize as we all now will command it to be. Ashe.
Ashe. Isis Ashe. Destiny Ashe. Tyler Ashe. Empress Ashe. Order out of chaos beings Ashe. Um, and all goddesses known and unknown, all gods known and unknown, Ashe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How's 20?
we back.
Yeah, I think show of the year, huh?
Say that again.
This our first show of the year.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I learned that Black happened, I think on the 30th of December. Well,
You said what?
by the full moon, I should look at big.
Not bad. You hear me? You hear me? I said you breaking up though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't hear you. I can hear me.
You every time you talk it break up, but I can hear you, but every time you talk, it break up.
Oh, signal strong.
Mm. You said what?
Strong on my side. I know.
Right. Every time you say something, it break up.
Okay, what about now?
But I can hear you though.
Am I breaking
Oh,
up?
I hear
Am I
you.
still
Yeah,
breaking?
right now it's way better now.
Okay, I brought my
Nope,
speaker.
you're not. You fine now.
Yeah, I brought
Yeah,
my
you
speaker
fine
up.
now.
All right.
Right.
Yeah,
You said what?
reading that. The Unconscious Worldview Media.
Right. This is gonna be one of my when I start doing my YouTube
Is a
page.
specific version of the Mac.
When I start doing my YouTube, I'm just going through certain things that I've been studying.
Well, so
Say it
what
again.
do you want to talk about tonight? What's on your mind tonight?
Man, I've been just going over how our people are a figment of what we used to be, man. We are nothing. We are nowhere near in the same spirit that the progenitors of all science, right? Because our our ancestors are the progenitors of all sciences on the planet and
Absolutely.
off the planet. So we don't reflect that lineage in this new age. This is a hybrid of what we
Paradigm.
used. We are a figment of what we used to be, bro.
Yeah. Well, that's because we were stripped of everything. Everything. Okay, we got completely stripped of everything. So now we're someone else. We become something else completely devoid of what we once were.
No, I mean I understand why, but it gets frustrating sometimes. I don't know. It's more than that too. It's a spiritual development thing.
Which,
The fact that we got stripped of everything is was a necessary thing that we have to go through.
yeah. But see, now it's up to just a few of us to get it all, to put the pieces together and bring justice.
That's the thing that a lot of people are not justice minded. They don't care about, like, I've noticed that most people have are just as tyrannical.
As the powers.
Yeah, I'm talking about the average everyday people. They just as tyrannical. They're just as cold as the system that oppresses them are. They that's why they don't have that sense of freedom, and because they kind of agree with the elite. Most people want to be the elite.
They want to be with you. They want to be like all the rap stars. They want to be a part of. They want a piece of that.
Right. It's just like how they trying to expose Diddy when most of the people trying to expose him probably was participating in the shit prior to it.
Yeah, I think it's a big um, come in. Be more than just Diddy. It's gonna be a lot of people, but it's happening throughout the entire system. The entire system is being shaken apart completely.
That's why people are going to their lowest point now, because the system is literally gradually collapsing right in front of our face. It's so gradual that people can't even detect it. So they can't really detect it because it's so gradual. But a lot of it is based on people are oblivious. They not even paying attention. All most people care about is sensory perception satisfaction and lower desire satisfaction. That's all their mind is geared to focus upon.
In a minute, it's gonna be just gonna be focused on how to survive in this fucking world as this shit fall apart.
Well, it's gonna be how to survive in a more treacherous world. Like this is
Yeah, no,
people are kind of privileged now, and to the point where they become enabled. They're not even prepared to deal with the hardship that's coming. They're not even prepared. So 'cause even in our, especially in so-called America, even the people who are considered homeless, bum, they're privileged.
yeah, they can find running water.
Right.
They can go
Even
to
if you homeless, you still can eat every day. Even if you homeless, I mean, most people who are homeless, they choose to be homeless because they got so many programs to
Mhm.
get you off the streets.
Yeah, they, California spent billions on trying to help people. I guess, well, out of those billions, probably a few millions went to helping the people. The rest went in the other people's pockets.
Well, those billions should have been spent on mental, mental facilities and mental
Health.
mental and emotional treatment for people.
Yeah.
Also, drug treatments. Like this is most people who are emotionally, mentally dysfunctional or have dysfunction. They 9 times out of 10 going to resort to drugs.
Yeah. And see,
I think that's what they should have spent that money on is mental health.
they did this without the community. Well, I guess, no, I guess you can't say that. I'm sure the community had some input on it, but I think if the community had more input on it, they could have helped them. The community and the system working together probably could have helped a whole lot of people.
Well, that's the problem. You just that's a disconnect. The people and the system have a very distant disconnect from each other because the people don't relate. You got to the extent that people are saying outrageous stuff about how the government can do this, the government can do that, Trump can do this. I'm like, how are you? How are you? We are. It could it's basically indicators or it's evidence that the general public are just unaware of how this system actually works.
Yeah.
They don't even know. They just saying anything that they feel, and people really don't do no research. That's the problem and that's what was created. That was the purpose of how the elitists created the indoctrinated system that people are under. They're under indoctrination, not education.
Yeah. Well, your mother and my mother both sent their kids to school to be educated by our enemy.
Right. And you got to recognize in that lack of that lack of love for self,
Hmm.
that's a lack of love for self. Why would you send your children to your direct? Why would we integrate into the system that enslaved your ancestors? That's a question I ask my people. Why would you?
Slaves us at this very day. In other, in
The brother, the sister, I think her name is Pimenta, not Pimenta. That's Pimenta. That's another brother. But her name is uh, uh, not Picola. Well, the sister who she got a video online called Moore's Law. She got a video online called Moore's Law, and what she said was she broke down how the what we're calling the the United States of America and how they became looked at as the sovereigns over here, right?
yeah,
Now we look at the United States of America as a sovereign over here. When you do further research, you find out that they're not even sovereign over here. So they can't make these, but people are under the impression that they are the sovereign authority over here, and we need to go to them to resolve issues when we're the sovereigns.
That's
Whatever we say actually goes.
yeah. Well, it's the image they put on. They put on such an image to, and plus already under the spell of their indoctrination. So it's going to obviously be that way,
Because
unless
also you can't see. I don't like when people always. My bad. Excuse me. Some of that a good cake ass weed, man.
yeah,
Okay, but I don't like how I can't stand when people put all of the onus on the oppressor. I look at it as I look at it as we are evolved in freedom in the thought of freedom at this point, and I mean evolved in the thought of freedom. Most people don't have the thought of freedom; they don't mind being subjugated,
yeah.
and
Well,
that's a result. They don't mind being subjugated, not because they in a right mind, not because they have the integrity, not because they operate on the principle. They're degenerates. They've they've been made into be degenerates. They don't even stand for nothing now. People are like automatons.
well, they have been indoctrinated into that. They have
That's
been
not
taught that.
that's indoctrination, but this is years of social engineering, indoctrination. This is years of psychological psyops because they're playing with our minds all the time. They're playing with our mind. They're playing with our emotions. They always are trying to manipulate us from that lower dysfunctional state that we operate from. They always trying to manipulate us from that.
Mhm.
So they have to keep us in this low vibrational state in order for them to. They have to lower the bar. This is to be real. Look at what's going on with this whole Drake and Kendrick beef, right?
Yeah.
It's a spiritual polarizing energy associated with their beef. Why? Because huh?
No, I'm saying,
Because Kendrick literally represents people who are still operating and adhering to certain principles. They may be slightly toward the edge of becoming totally tempted by their physical self, but they're straddling right. And then Drake represents people who have given into their lower self desires. They've given into they've given into their lower vibrational operated, and now they're at the point where they're justifying it now. If you
hmm
think about it, because I'm saying this based on what Kendrick is saying when he's talking about uh how he's talking about it's an art and it's not just some commodity used to be exploited and everything. It's an art. And
hmm
Drake being nothing more than an exploitable brand that has
prostitute.
been removed from his humanity.
He prostitute himself.
Huh?
He prostitute.
He's prostituting himself. And what happens is this is what's going on in humanity. All Americans, I can only speak to what Americans are going to because I'm in so-called America, and we're dealing with Americans. Americans are conflicted within themselves right now.
Yeah. Well,
All of humanity is conflicted. I can say all of the world is conflicted with itself based on understanding the spiritual hierarchy and the spiritual tapestry of the cosmos and shit, right? All of humanity is conflicted within themselves.
distracted.
They're distracted and conflicted. The distraction is to keep them from recognizing that conflict is something that's supposed to spark something in you, right? It's supposed to
Well,
spark something in you. But like I said, we just talked about this polarizing energy recognition within all of us. Most people are deciding, huh?
I'm agreeing. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, most people are deciding to give in to their lower self desire. Some people they're straddling. They're like, I am being drawn, I mean, influenced by my lower self, but I still understand these principles. I still understand this higher intellectual, divine approach to things and energy, right?
Hmm.
People are conflicted. This whole beef is showing that the spiritual confliction is coming to a head now,
Hmm.
right? The judgment day, and you can equate that to judgment day.
Yeah.
Because what's happening inside of everyone is a judgment going on inside. Are you gonna are you gonna are you gonna ride with your are you gonna allow your demons to uh, possess you? Or are you gonna possess your demons?
Hmm.
That's what's going on.
Yeah.
I told people this years ago, but I expressed it or articulated like you either in this society you either are pimp or a hoe.
Yeah.
There's
Yep.
no in between.
No in between.
No, you can play in between all you want. Okay, play in between. I'm not a pimp or a hoe. I'm just gonna play the in between and not get involved. Well, guess what? You're gonna get taken advantage of.
Yeah.
You're gonna end up a hoe eventually.
Yeah. You gonna get turned out.
You're gonna get turned out eventually.
You gonna
And
get.
what do I mean by you either a pimp or a hoe? Meaning you either are stepping up to a higher level of accountability and responsibility within yourself,
Mhm.
or you have decided to give in to all of and be just this impulsive automaton.
Oh, weakness. You decided to be weak and rule
Impulsive automaton.
that too.
Because
That's an animal.
you
That's
only you only
that.
look. Most people look. You notice that most people are only no better than animals because animals react off of
Impulse.
not only emotions but just their beastly nature.
Yeah. Impulse desire or
It's just an impulsive, beastly, reactionary, just like the biological, even the because we have to recognize that we're witnessing levels of intelligence. Humanity being a higher level of intelligence than listen, humanity representing a higher level of intelligence than cells in your body. They're intelligent too,
yeah.
but we represent a higher level of intelligence than that.
Well, we well.
Supposedly, and when I say intelligence, right,
Mhm.
it doesn't mean logic. It's not what I mean by intelligence. It's not confined to logic. Is what I'm saying.
You talking about like a consciousness, an awareness.
Awareness, yes. Awareness beyond awareness, that's beyond awareness, that's beyond awareness, and infinitely beyond that awareness, that the latter awareness of the latter awareness.
Well, as Blavatsky put it, a beingness, not a
Okay.
beingness.
Yes, a beingness.
Yes, a beingness. So you can't describe that.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you can try to describe it, but anything that describes the infinite intelligence, the unknowable God, you can't describe that with not even with an angel's brain or so-called angel or whatever that would be,
Right, right, right.
a higher cosmic being.
Right, because you lower it to um, more lower um, comprehension. Once you comprehend it, It's not. You can't attribute it to a higher consciousness or a higher awareness.
You finite it.
Because yes, right. So what this that's why I verify what I said and said it's not logic. Now, I'm not talking about necessarily logic,
No.
right? So most people are operating on strictly logic, and I see the flaw. I see your flaws because you're operating on strictly logic. I'm not saying logic don't play a part. I'm saying we're not confined to logic when we're talking about consciousness.
Yeah, that only governs reality to a certain extent.
Right.
Yeah.
We really we talking about not only logic but intuition too.
And laws of nature. Certain things they're all laws. And they govern an aspect of reality. Some laws are higher than other laws. Higher law always override lower law.
Right. It's like an awareness that is just instinctive. It just like I said, intuition. Like you don't know why you understand, but you do.
Yeah.
You don't know why, you can't explain it, you just know. That's why that literally explains the way I think. I don't know half the shit why I know half the shit I know, but I know it for some reason. And it's like I said, I study, but it doesn't explain the amount of studying I do does not equate to how much I actually can grasp.
Well, yeah, but it's about, organizing knowledge and using it towards a definite purpose.
That's only on the physical. That only works on the physical level. What you just said, that's logic.
Yeah. Okay. Now that's that's okay when it comes to this post millennium process. That's needed.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
And
Of course. I mean, because we're so indulged in the principles, the history, the jurisprudence, right? To the point where y'all cannot rebut what we're saying. That's what we had. We had a stalemate right now in the movement. Like y'all can't rebut nothing we talking about, but y'all want to. You so emotionally attached to what you already. This is the problem. People are already. This is why a lot of times people can't accept that they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
But can they accept that? Can we? But can we still unify anyway?
I mean, it will be. I will say, it will be in our best interest to have unity. That's what I say.
Yeah,
like people are framing it in a way like this symbolic thing, and oh yeah, we are like I've ever actually heard people that say that we do come together when it comes down to certain things, and I'm like, yeah, we do, but when it's drastic, we don't look at we've been programmed to look at stuff that's irrelevant to us as relevant. We've been programmed to say this is what's important. This is what's priority, and that has nothing to do with priority based on who we are in our nature.
Okay, well, we know this. Let's turn this shit around and use it against them to lead them. I mean, we have enough information on them to be able to use their own information against them.
I mean, that to me, I don't think it's about us and them. It's not. We keep on framing it from the perspective of being indoctrinated. I'm saying we reinvent everything. We reevaluate our thought process, how we think about it, because it ain't us against them.
No, you're right about that.
It ain't us against them. They have a problem with us. We never had a problem with them.
Oh, well, then you know what? We just have to figure out how many of us is down and then just move forward with what we have.
See, the problem with that is everybody is not sincere. That's what I was getting into about how people talk about unity, but they're really not genuine and sincere on what it actually takes for it to be. And what I mean by is political unity, not this symbolic black people are together when it come down to it. No, I'm talking about how are we operating in that. That's why nationality is important. That's nationality was the most important idea that we could have been introduced to, because nationality is a mentality associated. It's a behavior. It's a mentality of those who belong to a nation.
Yeah,
This
knowing.
is a mentality. We don't have that mentality right now.
No, no,
We
we
don't
have
have
a
that
fractured
mentality. You will hear
feeling.
gestures of so-called black people. We're a black nation. I've heard that in movies before, but it's just a symbolic gesture all the time. It's a nothing burger all the time.
Yeah, there's no political mother, there's no government, there's no structure, there's nothing.
There's not only not all that, but there's little to no interest in even understanding that as being a thought process of our best interest. We don't even have the thought process of our best interest. You know
Well,
what
then,
I'm saying? Because none of us are even thinking about those concepts that you said. That is not
then,
a popular or even well colloquial, which it should be. This should be a colloquial in our society. This should have already been, but they keep us. So this is how they literally attacked us. They fuck the chains they put on us. Fuck the fact that they so-called brung us over here, and which is bullshit, and they enslaved us in chains. Fuck all that. The worst thing they did was what's called linguistic genocide.
mhm.
Linguistic genocide, because we our thoughts are influenced by literature, words, legislation. We are influenced by whoever is the author, whoever is the authority, authority, whoever the authorities, meaning they're looked at as the dominant society.
Yeah,
We
well,
look at how we look at what we look at, like for example, I'm gonna use the example of Marcus Garvey.
yeah.
He looked at British society as the highest level of society there is.
Hmm.
He was a British loyalist. He was a
Yeah,
British loyalist, and he encouraged his members to fight in the British war because
well,
in his concept, which is, listen to what I'm saying, because most people look at him as a Pan-Africanist, right? And which Pan-Africanism is warped as have nothing to do with our what we should be thinking about as a people. It has nothing to do with what we should be thinking of. Pan-Africanism is all based too. But I'm saying, in contrast to his thought of him saying he's a Pan-African, he was a British loyalist, meaning he looked at the British society as the highest society that there is, meaning he looked up to them when the British looks up to our ancestors.
now I listened to this on,
Go ahead, brother.
I listened to this video. Is I think it's wait, it's upside down. Ugh. Well, it's called the Moroccan Post Jurisdiction Sovereignty Through House of Cards. And they were talking about where racism came from. It came from these two Europeans that invented racism.
Yeah,
And they classified,
Frederick Blumenbach, and I forgot the other. It was Frederick Blumenbach and some other. It was a British or a German botanist or naturalist.
So these racial terms that we're using were invented in the 1600s by these guys. So these guys are dead, but they still rule today.
Right. Academia have adopted their methodology of their
Yeah,
methodology is constructive language.
yeah, constructive language.
But
These
they were coming from a doctrine of science that you got to understand how compartmentalized the educational system is in the Western world, I use the Western world because most people are orientated to that, referring to Europeans, but the Western world don't refer to Europeans either. And it does, but modern Europeans, it refers to modern Europeans from the context of how we're using it today. But that's the thing. We don't get this detail. You see, I try to get detailed and
yeah,
articulating what I'm saying and giving reference points. And if this is what we've been removed from, that culture of being that detailed, being that due diligent, and actually researching and adhering to methodology. You know what I'm saying? This is what got us. Because now I'm having conversations with people and they are easily distracted. They have a very low attention span to where they're trying to make me cater to their lower attention span, in opposed to adopting a study habit mindset.
built off of principles.
Right.
Okay, because if your shit, I mean, if you're not using principles, if your shit's not based on any principles that have structure or some type of substance for you to stand on, then you're in la la land, and then you're emotional and you build the shit up with your emotions.
That's it. That's where we started off the show, and it's coming full circle. Most of so-called black people, they're not analytical. They're emotional as hell.
Emotional and combative.
Right. They're not combative against the actual enemy. They're combative against each other, because it's like when you are in a situation when you're miserable and you're mad, the easiest thing to take it all on the next person next to you.
Yeah, because yeah, but now you can't do that because that motherfucker might kill your ass.
But the level of lack of concern of when we kill each other is telling. We should examine ourselves, is what I'm saying. We should examine and look at how we behave with each other. We should look at how we give excuses for the system all the time, and how we have adopted some of the low vibrational lack of principles that this society encourages.
Well,
Right? People adopted. Look, we should examine us. What are we doing? Have we examined ourselves? Have we looked at ourselves as a people? Are we willing to do that? Honestly,
it hurts. It hurts.
it actually does hurt. But the thing about it is, if the truth hurts, what has happened is you have been in denial of it so long that you become extra sensitive to it.
But now I'm too weak to start. Now I feel like prisoner to this. No way out.
Well, that's a decision too. And you have every right to make that decision. But don't come back complaining afterwards.
No, I'm gonna come back because I got that right.
You
Because
say
that's what
you gonna come back to complain? Well, guess what? You gonna come back to complain, and you're not gonna resolve any issues. You're gonna end up in the same perpetual cycle.
It's going to be.
You're not, like you
No.
said, you're not adhering to principles.
Yeah.
Once you start adhering to principles, you start seeing yourself step out of perpetual cycles. Most of us are nothing more than in perpetual cycles.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Nothing.
you perpetuate on yourself because you're not willing to not only challenge yourself, but believe in yourself enough that your spirit is broken. Most people, their spirit is broken already. They feel like it's hopeless. So when you feel like it's hopeless, they feel like when they feel like it's hopeless, they think the logical step is just to give up. Well, there's no hope then. Well, let everything happen what it's gonna happen, then give up. That's a decision. You can make that decision too. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Well, then don't.
I'm not arguing with people in their low functional behavior. Go ahead, do you. All I'm saying is you're not going to get any results that way.
And you can't
Now,
speak
if you're looking for results, which, like you said, most people don't want you to solve their problems. They don't want to solve it. I just want to complain. Now I don't have nothing to complain because you solved all my problems. I'm mad at you.
Well, it's time for people to wake up and get past that because we got to get this post-millennium process going. Because let's talk about what it's going to be like after that. What is going to be like after that? What does that mean? We go back, we get the land grants, we go through the international courts of law. We somehow we stand, we prevail.
Well, what happens is we step up to be who we were destined to be.
Then that's what we need. That's what we're supposed to be talking about. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Anything else is taking us away from that.
Now we can. What I mean by where we can be, where we destined to be, is we have always been the mothers and fathers of humanity. We have always had that responsibility. We have always been the head influence of all of humanity. We are the mothers and fathers of humanity. Now, when I say this, right, people just overlook that shit and it's like they don't understand the significance of that. Like, we are the mothers and fathers of humanity.
Because that fucks with them emotionally.
Right.
How in the fuck can that be when I'm this fucked up emotionally?
I mean, fine. Emotions are just me. My thing is people are too emotional, right? You're not just emotional, you have a thought process. You also have a spirit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dwell in other aspects or other energies of yourself except your emotions all the time. Get out of your emotions sometimes. Sometimes you gotta be able to see yourself outside of your emotions, and because at the end of the day, like, you can be so emotional that you're trapped in your own body.
No. It becomes the prison that it was meant to be.
Well, it was originally meant to be, but like I said, there's polarities. There's two potential. There's at least two. There's multi, but
It's
there's at
either
least two potential realities that can come about. This is what I mean by the multi-potential reality. There are two potential realities that can come about.
Okay. Which are?
Whatever decision you make in these instances of being in these situations, whatever decision you make, that is the multi-potential reality. Now, if you make a decision based in weakness and defeat and the defeated, okay, that was divine in essence too for you to go that way.
So
you make a decision based on lack of fear, operating on principles and things. That's a way, because what happens is, I think a lot of people are not only afraid of failure, but they're afraid. They're afraid of success too.
Yes. Success is, you know what? Failure, man, failure is easier than success almost. Success.
Yeah, it is easier because success means you are not going to be who you were when you originally got to before you got to success. When you get success, you're not that person no more.
You
You're not
become,
the person you were before you were successful. That person is still there, but you are not that person. You should no longer associate with that person to the extent where it interferes with that who you become.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And
yeah.
that's what happens. People are emotionally attached to who they are right now, and they don't understand growth is is sanctum in the universe. It's like if you don't grow, then the world will pass you up. Period.
Hey, a caterpillar doesn't stay a caterpillar.
And the world will pass you up without any remorse for your feelings.
No.
They don't.
Yeah.
The universe don't care about none of that shit. I don't fuck all that. The universe don't care about what the fuck you going through.
No.
Nigga, shit moved the fuck on. And you will be forgotten, which that's not my
A
objective.
forgotten relic.
To be remembered. I don't care about being remembered, but I will have a legacy.
Yes. Legacy. Yes. We'll leave a legacy. We have we right now we have, it's up to us. This is the greatest thing ever. We are the next gonna be written on the shit that we do.
Check it out. When it comes to understanding the multi-potential reality, right?
Yeah.
When things are at its roughest, toughest, and everything, right? When the odds are so stacked against you, where you can be in that state of hopelessness. You can end up in that state of hopelessness based on the odds.
Yeah,
Like
but
I just said, that's a potential too. You can go there,
there are
but guess
principles.
what? If you decide to be like what Maya, what Mariah,
Myra.
Sister
Myra.
Mariah, Sister Mariah says, she said, oracles are those who see through the damn illusion.
Yeah, but not only.
Let me
Yeah.
finish. Let me finish. The oracles are the ones who see through the illusion immediately. Everybody else is going through the phases of trying to see through the illusion within themselves. So what happens is if you're willing to go through these phases of yourself and see through the illusion, that's the greatest. Man, you come out the hay room.
Yeah.
Literally, not in the instance of egotistical movie script. No, I'm talking about in your energy, your life, that you become a hay rule for the next generation that's coming before you and the ancestors. You understand how what they refer to as heaven is being that state right there?
Yeah.
Like, is that state of taking on all the challenges.
You become a current.
Right. You take on all the challenges. You see through your own fear and you pursue period regardless and having the ultimate faith.
But see, that's where I wanted to say earlier, when things are at their worst, this is where you put all the principles that you've learned and practice and live by to on trial. You put those principles to work. That's where these principles.
No, the principles are not on trial. You on trial.
This is where you enact
The
these.
principles have already fulfilled, already shown itself to be what it is. Because how we know? Because the ancestors moved on to the ancestral realm. They
All
moved
right.
on. They successfully evolved to another level. Because what am I saying? In our ancient culture, right, an ancestor becomes a god.
Yeah, okay, but on the principles though. All right. So then the way I should have put it is that you stand on these principles. You can either sink in the sorrow or stand on these principles.
Good. Or yes.
All right.
Or also have faith in your ancestors. Have faith in, because you are your ancestors would look, my thing is, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Why did I mention the ancestral realm and all that? Because our ancestors have already shown us
Mhm.
a blueprint to success,
Yes.
right? And I'm not see most people are so materialistic and superficial that immediately they mind go to prosperity, because you notice how most religions talk prosperity gospel, and they talk about how you will get, like in Islam, they misinterpret hadith and think and made it a suicide bomber, because
Mhm.
that's what a suicide bomber is supposed to be, hadith, and that's supposed to be a spiritual war, right? Meaning they took it out of context and made it a political thing, a political war and physical war, right?
Mhm.
And as a reward of doing this political or spiritual war, this hadith, which is actually just a spiritual war, terrorism, which is spiritual war. Political war.
Mhm.
Instead of actually taking it for what it actually is, they think that they do that and they get what? 1,000 versions in the afterlife, right?
Yeah.
So why are people so fixated on doing something here that's going to affect them in the afterlife, right?
Mhm.
Because ultimately, what we're calling life here is just a figment of what actual life is.
Yeah.
This is a figment of what life is. This
Yeah.
is and that whole concept of life is not enough to explain what we're talking about,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
it's all going back to orientated. How are we orientated? Because that's going to affect the spirit realm. We How are we operating in a certain way based on connotative linguistics and expecting the spirit realm to relate and try to get? No, that's not how the spirit realm works. Why you think why do you think they employed linguistic genocide upon us? Because
oh,
not only did they take us off our fort way and our thought ways and fort ways, right?
yeah,
Our culture.
that was on theirs.
Now they live vicariously through us and have access to these higher realms now
Yeah.
through us.
Through us.
So not only to because it's also based in an inferiority complex, right? That that ritual that they did upon us as a result of the slave system, that was a ritual that was done upon the higher vibrational indigenous people of the planet, right?
Yeah.
And what did they do? They brought us down to their level of thinking,
Yeah. And then built a civilization around it.
right?
Yeah.
They made us feel like we're the inferiors and
In the
they're the superiors. They switch places. That's why that movie Trading Places is very esoteric.
yeah. Okay. But now here we are in history. We
Yeah,
can there it is not going to take all of us to do it. I think there's enough of us. We will have enough to be able to change this and to be able
right.
to make and change all of history.
I think we need to focus on, like I just said, everything I just talked about evaluating ourselves,
Yes.
going back to adhering to the principles, because we go back more and more to our true nature. Then we're not going to look at the as reality how we're looking. The way we look at this reality is contributing to our continuous subjugation.
I
The
hope
way we operate within the society is contributing to our continuous subjugation.
so. Okay, well, all right. Well, do we go back or do we go to something or do we go back?
No. We practice Sankofa. We always, the Sankofa bear is always head that to the back, but it's moving forward.
Oh, like Janice.
Right. It's the principle of Sankofa.
Okay. Head
Right.
looking forward, head looking backwards.
Right. So we always mindful of the ancient world and how it operated in that thought process of the ancient world. Because that's what I meant. That's an operating system. The,
Yeah.
the operating system of the ancient world was 10 times more effective and efficient than the operating system of the modern world.
Okay. Yeah, it was more magical too.
Very magical. Because it was more magical because there was a certain orientation of the subconscious mind that
Mhm.
we had been orientated to facilitate this spiritual what you call it a correspondence of the spirit world to this world. You correspond with the spirit world to this world by creating these subconscious correspondence that reflect the spirit world. And this bridge is a doorway.
Those were symbols, right?
Right. These bridges are doorways.
Yeah, we had gateways. Yeah. But see, but unfortunately, we were on the decline. We we declined from out of something great. Okay, out of higher, out of these higher realms, we declined from higher realms. They were much higher than they are now, but it was declining until we got to this.
Right.
And
and
so,
and that was all it was a necessity to ascend to a more greater aspect of who we were prior to us descending.
yeah.
Right.
Mhm. Yes.
Now when you ascend, it's like an oscillating force. Right. Every time it makes that revolution. Right. Every time it makes it, it basically accelerates a notch every time. It goes whoop whoop. Sometimes it extends, and then what I mean by accelerate, it reaches a degree of evolution, or it reaches a degree of what they call it in Freemasonry, initiation.
Yeah.
You've initiated into another degree of recognition of self.
Yeah, and that changes the entire reality, the entire landscape.
That is the entire reality.
Yeah, that is.
That is the entire reality.
That is.
We are this. Everything else is just a figment of that.
Yeah,
If
just
you're
wait.
not on that, then you are just like you said. You're automaton. You in the tapestry of the cosmos. You're not a force within the tapestry of the cosmos.
Oh shit,
You
go.
in it. You a part of it. You just something that's being moved and animated. No, but you're not a force within the whole tapestry.
You just a backdrop.
And that's
Yeah,
a decision. That I said it's two decisions. You can make a decision. I'm not arguing with y'all who want to go that route. That's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah,
You can go that route. I'm
they
not
can
even
go.
trying to convince you to go the route of being a higher reality generating being.
Not for everyone. Everyone didn't come here for that.
That's
Everyone
not
didn't.
the point. Is the initiates. There
That's
are
who,
many initiates,
that's who's needed. That's
right?
who's everyone else. They can go about their daily hassles or whatever it is they do.
We're not talking to y'all. Go on about go on and be in the matrix. We're not trying to convince you
Shit
to
and
get
do
outside of the matrix. That's your existence based on your
it.
own decision. I'm not saying this is your existence. You decided that you want to just give in to your lower impulse. Fine. That's fine. Do it. It's not a good or a bad thing.
It just is.
It is what the fuck it is.
Yeah. It just is.
We're not trying to convince you to recognize yourself as a god. You don't have to.
We need people in the backdrop.
That again is the tapestry. Y'all are just a part of the tapestry.
Yeah. We yeah, you need people in the backdrop, and
Right.
then you don't want to like place it look like it's abandoned and shit, because that's what it would look like if it was just only conscious people on the planet. It wouldn't be hardly be any people on the planet.
Right. Yeah, get your last words in, bro. I got to work on my next show. So,
Well, my last words here is this post-millennium process is one of the greatest thing I ever heard. And I feel, I, I think about how big this thing is. I really don't know how big it is. I just know it's big. This thing is real. And
huge, humongous.
this will change everything. I mean, this can change everything. And any one of us can be a part. And we make, and once we do this, all the books and all the history books from that point on, it's going to be written about us. It's going to be the reference to the next epoch from here. So, you know, what else is there to do? It's shit. I mean, I see it, man. I see it. I mean, I don't, I don't know how this thing. I just know it's huge, and each one of us play a part. And I'm gonna do my role. Only thing I can do is just my role. Like I said, I can only eat an elephant one bite at a time. This is a fucking goddamn herd of elephants. Okay, so I can't eat all of this by myself. I need help. Well, I'm here to help. And I'm going to say thank you for introducing me into this knowledge. Knowledge is a privilege. I'm privileged to be in this position. Very, very privileged. And so there you have it, man. Yeah. Your last.
Yeah, that was your last words. My last words is thank you for being receptive and being one of the only persons who have genuinely received this information in a wholehearted way to the point where you recognize how effective and important it is to your life, right? Because that's all I speak to it as. I'm not all most people who they're vibrating on such a low level, even in the conscious community, that
Mhm.
they always think I'm trying to debate them or I'm trying to uh, intellectually ejaculate or play this intellectual battling with them and stuff. And I have no interest in that at all. My whole interest is for us to have a certain level of consciousness that we can conversate with each other about things that's not just orientated to this low vibrational aspect of who we are, right? Like I'm, I'm. It's typical to hear about all of the mundane crap going on in the society, man. When
Yeah.
I hear people mentioning stuff like ideas like post millennium,
Mhm.
it sparks my interest. I'm like, what is that? I'm
Yeah.
so genuine about being aware and being open to other things that that have never been exposed to. That I've learned about it, and I was like, oh shit. I'm so sincere with it that I'm like, yeah, this is the most greatest thing to understand if you're interested in freedom. But what it does, that's the positive of it. The negative of it is what it did was reveal that the mass majority of people are not free. Don't want freedom.
Mhm.
They don't want freedom. We got the answers,
Yeah.
and they don't want it. That's what
It'll
I'm
be,
noticing. I'm talking about this stuff all the time to people who supposedly are on this side of the level of conscious Moors, and it's like they so bound up into all of the low vibrational stuff. What I'm telling y'all is we gonna have to grow. You should not be on the same level you was in 2015 and 2004, 2024 that you are in 2025.
no.
No, every year I would say for some people, every 10 years you should grow in your thinking.
Yeah.
You should grow in your thinking. I'm talking to people that I knew in the 90s and they still think like they in the 90s.
Shit.
I know people who I knew in the 80s and they still haven't grown from their thought processes in the 80s. I'm like, come on, man. It seems like I'm expecting adults to be adults.
Good luck.
Why? Why do I gotta expect adults to be? Why can't y'all just be adults? Why do I gotta every adult that this might be a childish thinking, low vibrational adult? Because 9 times out of 10, that's what you're gonna run into.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
don't mind it. That's the reality, and I'm not complaining.
And then
What
you
I'm
find
saying
out what
is,
the boundaries are.
I'm not complaining. What I'm saying is, let's let's higher the vibration. Let's up the vibration.
Yeah.
Let's up it a notch, at least a notch, just a notch. Let's up it a notch, okay? Then we can have conversations like post millennium, genuinely, because I'm not saying that people are not taking it and saying, but they're not genuine about it. Because if you're genuine, you're going to do some research and then come back and we're going to have a conversation about it. But no, I'm not getting this. Mind you, I'm talking about other so-called conscious Moors.
Mm.
So what my whole last words, the bottom line is stop with the bullshit. Y'all faking the funk, and I don't want to hear no complaints. We have the power is in our hands. Nobody can stop us from doing what the fuck we are. I don't want to hear what they doing. They did this and that. I don't care what they doing. I don't care what nobody else doing no more. Don't come to me telling me what the system is doing. What they about to do this. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
All I
Now,
care about is what we ain't doing. Or what we're doing that's a detriment to us getting to a favorable destination in the future. That's
at
my
night.
last word. I gotta go.
Oh, but I do want to acknowledge Rashamir Jones. He says, everyone asks me about the Super Bowl. They want to hear my answer so bad. This is what I got to say. You know, you remember that ambulance plane that crashed? That red and white ambulance plane that crashed not too long ago.
I heard about it. Yeah.
Yeah, same color as the Kansas City Chiefs. So I knew the Kansas City Chiefs was going to lose. That
Mm.
was on them planes. That was shit. That was the Kansas City Chiefs colors. So
Okay.
yeah, look it up. That ambulance plane that crashed, same colors. He said, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, that's another thing with our people. We are very much conspiracy theory nuts, man. We love the conspiracy theory shit, man. I swear that shit is entertaining. I get it,
Yeah, it is.
but well, guess what? That's another distraction, man. Fuck the colors of that shit. No, post millennium.
Yeah, post
Dwell on that. That's the conspiracy. Post millennium, okay? That's the conspiracy. I'm out of here.
Okay, good night, John.